Amazing grace, how sweet that sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Welcome to the Yahweh and Yahshua Speak television show. We are in our Hebrew History Month, which the world calls Black History Month, special. And we're on part 3 of We're Back. Oh, Black Jesus. The stranger is very high above Yisrael. Let's go to Exodus 19 chapter. So we're back. Who are we? We're Yahweh's 12 natural tribes and 12 spiritual tribe nation of Yisrael. That's who we are. Where have we been? Involuntarily scattered to the four corners of the earth and blinded to our identity as the 12 natural tribes of Yisrael. Going to Exodus 19 chapter.
Hallelujah.
And we want to read one verse. Exodus 19, and let's read verse 6, please.
Praise Yahweh.
Exodus chapter 19, verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
All right, this is what Yahweh always wanted for his 12 natural tribes of Israel. He wanted them to be a Malkuth of Kahana, or kingdom of priests, and a Kadash Am, or holy nation. It says, these are the Dabarim, or the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. We're speaking unto the children of Israel now.
Yes.
And what happened was the 12 natural tribes did not want to be Yahweh's 12 spiritual tribe nation, but Yahweh is still working plan B.
Praise Yahweh.
He set up the Levitical priesthood.
Yes.
And now he's making his 12 spiritual tribe nation anyway.
Hallelujah.
Let's go to Jeremiah, the 16th chapter. So last show, we were looking at the scriptures where Yahweh calls strangers to be part of his spiritual nation.
Yes, yes.
Jeremiah, the 16th chapter. And Yahweh calls strangers different things. He calls them mixed multitude. He calls them heathen. He calls them Gentiles. And we're going to look at, he calls them something else. He calls them proselytes. Let's continue looking. Jeremiah, the 16th chapter. Looking at the strangers that Yahweh calls to be in his kingdom. Jeremiah 16 and 1 verse. Verse 19.
Hallelujah.
Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities, and things wherein there is no profit.
So not only have we found out that the world is lied to us, but it says the Gentiles. It says, O Yahweh, my coac or strength and my fortress, and my refuge in Hayam, or the day of affliction. The Goi, or the Gentiles, Goim, shall come unto thee from the ends of Haaret, and shall say, surely our fathers, our Abba, have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. So strangers among the 12 natural tribes knew Yahweh was making up his spiritual tribe nation, and a great stranger multitude of all nations. Let's go to Revelation, the 7th chapter. So Yahweh's making up his 12 spiritual tribe nation, and he's making up a great stranger multitude of nations. Revelation, the 7th chapter. He's got 2 different categories of people that will be in his kingdom. 12 tribes of Yisrael, spiritual, and stranger multitude of nations.
That's right.
Revelation 7. And let's read verse 9. Revelation 7
Yeah.
and verse 9.
Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palms in their hands.
All right, so now this is not talking about the 12 spiritual tribe nations. This is talking about strangers. It says, and this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man can number, of all go we, all nations,
Right.
and kindreds, and people, and tongues. They stood before the throne, and before the Lamb. They were clothed with white robes. White robes, Yahweh says, is a righteousness of the Kadashim. So these are people that will be in Yahweh's kingdom, strangers.
Yep.
All right,
Thus says
go to
Yahweh.
Matthew's the 19th chapter.
Thus
So
says
Yahweh categorizes the 12 spiritual tribe nation and this great stranger multitude of all nations differently.
Okay.
He gave the 12 spiritual tribe nation more spiritual responsibility.
Yeah.
Matthew's the 19th chapter.
Hallelujah. Totally Yahweh.
Yahweh's going to reveal in this series that the devil has duped people into thinking
Yes, he
they
has.
should be trying to be part of the 12 natural tribes.
Right.
And nothing natural impresses Yahweh.
Nothing. They better recognize.
Yahweh gave the 12 spiritual tribe nation more responsibility.
That's right.
He gave it to the 12 natural tribes first,
Yeah.
but they messed up and refused to do it.
Right.
So, but it's still on his spiritual tribe nation.
Hallelujah.
Matthew 19, and let's start at verse 27, please.
Praise Yahweh.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 27. Then answered Kepha and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all, and followed thee. What shall we have therewith, therefore?
28.
And Yahshua answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
All right, so now he gave his 12 spiritual tribe nation. He said, you which have followed me in the regeneration, when Haban of Adam shall sit in the throne of his kabod, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So he's given the 12 spiritual tribes of Israel the responsibility of judging the 12 tribes of Israel. He didn't give that to this great multitude of strangers that are going to be in the kingdom. Verse 29.
Verse 29. And everyone that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
Hallelujah.
Verse 30.
Verse 30. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
However big and bad or good you think you are now,
right.
Yahweh said the ones that are first in this world are going to be last.
Right.
And those that consider us last are going to be first. But it says, if we've forsaken houses, brethren, sisters, father, mother, husband, children, and lands, whoever you had to set aside so you could go on with Yahweh, he said, you are receiving 100-fold in this life, and you've inherited everlasting life. You haven't lost anything, you've been added to.
That's right, been increased.
All right, let's go to Luke, the 22nd chapter. So the 12 spiritual tribe nation will be judging the 12 natural tribes of Israel.
All right, thus says
Luke 22. And we're already judging them according to Yahweh's word, because they failed, they refused to do what Yahweh set them up to do.
It is written, you can see it.
We're just saying what the word says.
That's it. I have showed it to us.
Luke 22. And let's start at verse 29, please.
Hallelujah.
Luke chapter 22 and verse 29. And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Abba hath appointed unto me,
30.
that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
There it is again. And now, sometimes people take the scripture and say, oh, it's just talking to those 12. No, he's talking to his people, the 12 spiritual tribes of Israel. He says, I appoint unto you a Malkuth, a kingdom, as my Abba has appointed unto me. We've been appointed to be in Yahweh's kingdom. That you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom. All you have to do is go over there and read in Revelation about the marriage supper of the Lamb. We will be at the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he says, sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Let's go to Acts, the 10th chapter. So last show, we were looking at the life of a Gentile Italian stranger. Yahweh told the stranger to seek a man from the 12 natural tribes to teach him how to become part of his great stranger multitude of all nations, or spiritual strangers.
Tell it like it is.
So they have to come to Yisrael to find out how to become part of the strangers that will inherit the kingdom. All right, Acts the 10th chapter. We were looking at this stranger, and Yahweh told him to call on this Hebrew Kepha. And he was not only now natural Yisrael, but he had transitioned to become spiritual
That's
Yisrael.
it, we all have to.
Acts 10 and start at verse 44, please.
Hallelujah.
Acts chapter 10 verse 44. While Kepha yet spake these words, the Kodesh Ruach fell on all them which heard the word.
45.
Verse 45. And they of the circumcision which believed were astonished, as many as came with Kepha, because that on the Goyim also.
Just read it straight, sister. On the Gentiles. Yes.
Because that on the Gentiles also poured out the gift of the Kodesh Ruach.
All right. So here we're seeing this. He came to this Italian, this Gentile, came, sent some people to Kepha, to this Hebrew, because Yahweh told him, look, send in and get one of my people, spiritual Yisrael, natural and spiritual Yisrael, and have them show you how to come into the kingdom and to become part of this great spiritual stranger multitude of nations. And so it says, here's Kepha speaking. While he was speaking the words, explaining to them, as Ruach HaKadosh was telling him, Yahweh's power source, to explain to the Gentiles how to get into the kingdom. It says Ruach HaKadosh fell on these Gentiles and heard what Kepha was saying. And they of the circumcision, that's talking about natural Yisrael, who was also spiritual Yisrael. It says they were astonished, because as many as came with Kepha, because on the Goy, these strangers, also was poured out the gift of Ruach HaKadosh. All right, so that's how you get into the kingdom. You get the gift of Ruach HaKadosh. All right, verse 46.
Verse 46. For they heard them speak with tongues and magnify Elohim. Then answered Kepha.
47.
Verse 47. Can any man forbid water, that these should not be baptized, which have received the Kodesh Ruach as well as we?
All right, so then here is this Ibryi, this Hebrew, taking charge. He said, and they heard them speak with tongues and magnify Elohim. Then answered Kepha, this Hebrew that Yahweh set up, natural Hebrew, but a spiritual Hebrew. Can any man forbid Ma'im, that these should not be baptized, which have received Ruach HaKadosh as well as we? So just because Ruach HaKadosh came on them before they were baptized doesn't mean that you don't get baptized to receive Ruach HaKadosh. So Kepha, he understood, because why? He was part of that 12 spiritual tribe nation, just like we are. And to break it down, because Yahweh tells us how to do it, then we're supposed to turn around and tell the strangers and whoever wants to hear how to do it. So he said, hey, these people should get baptized. All right, verse 48.
Verse 48. And he commanded them to be baptized in the name of Yahshua. Then pray they him to tarry certain days.
All right, so he commanded them to be baptized in the Shem or name of Yahshua.
Right.
Because that's how you're supposed to be baptized.
Right.
And it says, then they pull out, and then they prayed, and then they wanted him to stay with them for several days. Go to Acts, the 2nd chapter. So in addition to mixed multitude, heathen and Gentile, Yahweh calls strangers proselytes.
Okay.
Acts, the 2nd chapter. So when you see these words, they're not talking about Yisrael. They're talking about non-Israel. Non-natural Israel. Proselyte. Acts, the 2nd chapter. And let's start at verse 8. Acts, the 2nd chapter. Let's read verse 8, please.
Acts chapter 2, verse 8. And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born?
9.
Verse 9. Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia, in Pontus and Asia.
10.
Verse 10. Phrygia and Pamphylia, in Egypt and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and the strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes.
All right, so you see it says strangers of Rome, so there were some strangers there, just like we just read about this Italian man. He was a stranger of Rome. It says strangers of Rome, Yadim, and proselytes. Proselyte strangers were at Yahweh's yearly holy day, the Feast of Weeks, or Feast of Shavuot. We're looking at it. The English word proselyte is a Greek word found in Blue Letter Bible number 4339. Vine's Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words defines proselyte as to come to, primarily signifies one who has arrived, a stranger. In the New Testament, the English word proselyte in Greek is used of converts to, they say Judaism, but it's really Yahwehism.
Right.
Or foreign converts to the Jewish or the Hebrew religion.
That's
Let's
it.
go to Acts, the 13th chapter. All right, so they're non-Israel. They're strangers. Acts 13. And they can be Gentile or they can be a heathen. Or a mixed multitude.
Right.
Yahweh just uses
Thus
different
says
words
Yahweh.
for stranger.
Right.
Acts 13, and let's read one verse, verse 43.
Hallelujah.
Acts chapter 13, verse 43. Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes followed Shaul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of God.
All right, so talking about the congregation, talking about the Hebrews that were together. Well, there were some strangers among the Hebrews.
Yeah.
It says when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yadim, that's us, our forefathers, and religious proselytes, those are the strangers that were among them. They followed Shaul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the reign of Elohim. Let's go to Acts, the 6th chapter. So Vine's Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words defines proselyte at Blue Letter Bible number 4339 also as there seeming to be no connection necessarily with Palestine, for it is used of those who lived abroad. All right, so not in the land of Israel. They say to compare in the Old Testament the word stranger, or the strangers that were living among the children of Israel. We already looked at those, and Yahweh called them a mixed multitude. They came out of Mizraim or Egypt with them. All right, so now in Acts the 6th chapter, we see there was a disciple named Nicholas. He was a proselyte stranger. Acts 6 and verse 5, please.
Hallelujah.
Acts chapter 6 and verse 5. And the same pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith and of the Kadesh Ruach, and Philip and Prochorus and Nicanor and Timon and Parmenas and Nicholas, a proselyte of Antioch.
All right, so here's this Nicholas, and now he had transitioned to become part of that great stranger
Right.
multitude. Nicholas, a proselyte of Antioch.
Okay.
All right, go to Romans the 11th chapter. It says the same pleased the whole multitude. They were choosing out spiritual brothers
Yeah.
to carry out Yahweh's business.
That's
And part
it.
of them was this stranger
Uh-huh.
that they chose.
Right.
Romans the 11th chapter. So strangers are taught through Yahweh's 12 spiritual tribe nation how to be, quote unquote, grafted in
Yeah.
to the olive tree
Yes.
by becoming part of his great stranger multitude of nations.
Praise
Romans
Yahweh.
11. Now, Yahweh just categorizes his 12 spiritual tribes differently than he does his great stranger multitude of nations. Romans the 11th chapter. And they have to be grafted in.
Right.
Romans 11, one verse 17. Please.
Hallelujah.
Romans chapter 11, verse 17. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree.
Yes.
Now he's talking about Yahweh's spiritual nation,
Right.
all right, which consists of two parts. The
Yep.
12 spiritual tribes of Yisrael and the great multitude of all nations, kindreds, and tongues.
Uh-huh.
He said, and if some of the branches were broken off, he's talking about these 12 natural tribes of Yisrael, the ones that were rebellious,
Right,
those
right.
branches were broken off. And then he's talking about the stranger. If you being a wild olive tree,
Right.
were grafted in among them,
Okay.
talking about the spiritual nation
Yeah.
that he's making up, and you're partaking of the root and
Yeah.
fatness of the olive tree. So Yahweh calls his spiritual nation the olive tree as a
Okay.
whole. All right, go to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. He's saying now you're wild, but you've been grafted in now
Right.
to this olive tree.
Hallelujah.
Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. Yahweh calls his spiritual nation the olive tree. Ephesians 2. And what were the strangers before they got grafted into the olive tree? 2 and verse 11.
Hallelujah.
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11. Wherefore, remember that ye, being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision, but by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Now he's telling the difference between the 12 natural tribes
Right.
and natural strangers.
Right.
He's saying, wherefore remember now that you being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision. Why? Because the only people that have the law of circumcision are our forefathers, our people. It's a spiritual thing. It's not just a natural thing. He said, by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. He's talking now about our forefathers.
Right.
All right, but he's saying now, remember, in time past, he's talking now to this great multitude that has transitioned to become spiritual Yisrael. Remember how you used to be before you met Yahweh.
Right.
You've been grafted into the olive tree, but now he wants to tell them something. All right, verse 12.
Verse 12. That at that time ye were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Yisrael, and strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope and without Elohim in the world.
He's saying, in time past now, you were without Mashiach. Being aliens, you like somebody from Mars. From the commonwealth of Yisrael.
Promises.
And strangers from the Berit of promise. Totally alienated from Yahweh.
Right.
Having no hope.
None.
Having no hope. And without Elohim in the world. So he wanted to know you all were jacked up. Up the creek without a paddle. All right, let's go back to Romans the 11th chapter. So the 12 spiritual tribe nation is to warn strangers.
Right,
And
right.
if they think they're above Yahweh's 12 natural tribes, then Yahweh can put them back out of the olive
Of
tree.
course.
Romans 11.
Of course. Any of us.
He warns a stranger in particular. We talking about the stranger.
Right, right.
Because Yisrael is blind, deaf, and dumb for the most part. The 12 natural tribes. And he's talking to the stranger.
Okay.
So if they think that they are above Yahweh's 12 natural tribes, and Yahweh tells them, look, you wild. I put you into this
Right.
tree, but now let me tell you something about those 12 natural tribes.
Okay.
Romans 11, and let's start at verse 18.
Hallelujah.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 18. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
Now he said, don't get this backwards now.
Right.
He said, don't be boasting against the 12 natural tribes. Because
Right.
if you boast, then you're not part of the root.
No, you're not.
And that olive tree is gonna get you, you're gonna get yourself cut off from the olive tree.
Yep.
He said, and remember, the root, that's talking about Yahweh and Yahshua,
Right, right.
they're the ones that are opening up this way for you. You're
Okay.
blessed to
Hallelujah.
be grafted
Yes.
in.
Yes.
So don't be acting like you're better than
Hallelujah.
the 12 natural tribes, all right? Verse 19.
Verse 19. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
You bragging like you so wonderful, and then Yahweh just did this because he just wanted you to be a part of it. No, he's saying, if you boasted against the branches, the 12 natural tribes, what you're saying is, the 12 natural tribes were kicked aside so that I might be grafted in.
Right.
Like you so wonderful, stranger. No, you're not. Yahweh is just a merciful Elohim.
Yes.
You just got blessed to be in.
Yes.
Then Yahweh goes on now. He wants to be sure you realize just how blessed you are.
Right.
Just like the 12 natural tribes of Israel that have transitioned to be the 12 spiritual tribes.
Yes.
We should never take that for granted.
Never.
But we're dealing with strangers now. What is he telling a stranger that's going to think they're high above the 12 natural tribes? Verse 20.
Verse 20. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but reverence.
21.
Verse 21. For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee.
Now, the 12 natural branches are the apple of Yahweh's eye.
Right.
And if he dealt with them harshly,
I know, right?
you come with your wild stranger self and you think you're better than Yahweh's 12. He said, hey, they were broken off because of unbelief.
Yep.
And you're standing by believing what I'm saying and submitting and being right and righteous in my sight.
That's it.
He said, you better watch out because I won't spare you either. He said, don't be high-minded. Don't start tripping thinking you're better than the 12 natural tribes. He said, because if I didn't spare them, the natural branches, you better beware because I won't spare you either if you're doing right.
Right.
All right? Ain't nobody rotten going to be up in Yahweh's kingdom.
Y'all right.
Verse 22.
Right. Tell like it is.
Verse 22. Behold, therefore the goodness and severity of Elohim on them which fell severity, but toward thee goodness, if thou continue in his goodness. Otherwise thou also shalt be cut off.
He said, yeah, you can be cut off too. He said, there's Tob and there's severity of Elohim.
Yep.
On the 12 tribes, natural tribes who refuse, there's a whole severity. But toward you, Tob, goodness, it opened up a way for you. If you continue in Yahweh's goodness. Otherwise, you're going to also be cut off.
Right.
And you'll be again, no hope, no hope.
Right.
You'll be on Mars again. All right, so strangers should not assume they are better than Yahweh's 12 natural tribes because it's easier for the 12 natural tribes to come back into the olive tree than it was for them to be grafted in. All right, let's keep reading verse 22.
22?
23, I'm sorry.
Verse 23. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For Elohim is able to graft them in again.
Yes.
He said, don't get it backwards
Yes.
now. He said, hey, if these 12 natural tribes, whoever out of the tribe, which we're some of them, that got it right, I'll graft them back in again.
Right,
They
right.
also, if they abide not still in unbelief, if they get right, they submit themselves to me, they're going to be grafted in again.
Right,
He said, for Yahweh is able to graft them in again. There's no
Right.
problem they got kicked out. He's able to put them back in again. Matter of fact, he can put them back in easier than he can put you strangers back
Right,
in.
right.
All right, verse 24.
Verse 24. For if thou were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to the nature in a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
I was saying it's just as smooth as silk for them to be
Great,
grafted back in.
Shareth.
He said, you the wild one, stranger. So you better be counting your blessings and thanking Yahweh 24/7.
Yeah,
All right,
sure.
go to Deuteronomy 28. So the devil is doing his best to take advantage of the 12 natural tribes
yeah.
as a nation, not knowing who they are.
Yeah,
He is behind TV programs,
yeah,
commercials,
Yes, he is.
and movies,
yeah.
programming and brainwashing the 12 natural tribes and strangers to focus on each other. Oh, black Jesus, the stranger is very high above
Oh, yeah.
Israel. Deuteronomy 28. He want them to focus on each other,
Right.
fornicate with
Right.
each other, lust after each other, marry each other, have children by each other. The whole point is to get them off track of what Yahweh told them to do.
Right, right.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 43. And it's the
Hallelujah.
devil that's behind it.
Yep.
People tell you, yeah, well, you know, we all human and, you know, we're both human, so you know, just marry a human. And that's the devil telling your natural mind.
Program
That's
to.
right.
If Yahweh hadn't put it in the book, it would be a different thing.
Right, right.
Deuteronomy 28 and
Praise the
verse
mighty Yah.
43.
Deuteronomy 28 and 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
And this is what's happened to the 12 natural
All right.
tribes, not us anymore.
Not us.
Because we've been freed.
Yes,
we
we have.
transitioned to the 12, be part of the 12 spiritual tribes now.
Right.
The stranger that is within or among you shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. The 12 natural tribes that don't know who they are, they're very low.
Yes.
And they think everybody else looks better than them, or they think everybody else talks better than
Right,
them,
right.
has
Yeah,
better
right,
than
right.
them.
I love
They
it
think that they should buy this Korean hair down to their you rarely see nowadays in the United States women that don't have their own hair. They got all this long
Right,
hair,
right.
especially the young women.
Right.
Why? Because they're blind and they're thinking that this is how they should be.
Right, right.
They're copying after the stranger.
Right.
It says the stranger that's among you he's gotten up above you very high, and you have come down very low. So strangers are studying the Bible, using Hebrew culture
I know, right.
and Hebrew words, while the 12 natural tribes as a nation are not. You got Perry Stone, got a big huge menorah on stage. You got Joseph Prince, he's copyrighted his version of the Ark of the Covenant, and so you can't copy that. And I have this article that Yahweh had me start doing back in May. It's Gentiles using Hebrew words
Okay.
and Hebrew paraphernalia. On May 9th, 2018, Andrew Womack Ministries, on Daystar, he's in Colorado, he did a study for 2 weeks on the Old Testament book of Proverbs. He defined and mentioned Hebrew words, like the word for established, kun, K-U-W-N, found at Strong's number 3559. These are Sunday Gentile people
Right.
using Hebrew words.
Right.
And then you have the 12 natural tribes. You're going to stand up and say, we speak English.
Yeah.
May 9th, on Daystar again, on their reflection segment, where the time is not bought out by anybody, they had a segment showing scriptures, and they flashed Yahweh, thy God, on the screen in the scripture.
Right.
On their reflection. This is Daystar. Yeah, it's time.
Hallelujah.
That's why we as Yahweh's 12 spiritual tribe nation supposed to be standing up,
Right.
saying Hebrew, looking Hebrew, doing something Hebrew. This is us. This
Hallelujah.
is, we're back.
Yes. Praise
We're back.
Mighty Yah.
The week of May 5th to 9th, and this was 2018, Bill Winston stated that the Hebrew tells you everything that's in God's vocabulary. These are Sunday ministers. May 15, 2018, Andrew Womack again translated English words into Hebrew words and used Babylonian Hebrew characters.
Okay.
And I know Joseph Prince, we bought this CD that he's got, and he's got the Hebrew characters, and he's got, I think it's 3 or 4 CDs on them explaining about the Hebrew characters and what they
Mighty
mean.
Yah.
Come on now, we're leading the pack.
All right.
May 15th, Joseph Prince, New Creation Church in Singapore, on Daystar, translated the English word grace and used the Hebrew word Hain, C-H-E-N, and said it was found in Strong's Hebrew number 2580. May 17, 2018, Matthew Hagee
Okay.
of the John Hagee Show, Cornerstone Church in San Antonio, Texas. This is on Daystar again. Talked about what Hebrews did to remember the commandments by wearing certain clothes.
Right.
Hello?
Hallelujah.
Praise Yahweh.
He used Strong's Greek number 5440. And then, I'm not going to read everything that he said, but either way, he's letting us know we're spiritually awake,
Yeah.
that this is what we used to do.
Right.
May 18th, Joel Osteen,
Huh.
Lakewood Church in Houston, again on Daystar, used the phrase in the original language means referring to Hebrew.
Right.
May 22nd, 2018, Stephen Furtick,
Huh.
Elevation Church in Charlotte, North Carolina on TBN. Now this is another Gentile TV station.
Right.
Mentioned the English word in Psalms 139, meaning in Hebrew, disquieted. Come on now, what's taking us so long? Not us, because we're,
Right.
hey, Yahweh told us, hey, start studying Hebrew, start saying Hebrew words, start
Praise
flashing
the
it up
mighty
on the
Yah.
screen.
Praise the mighty Yah.
He's telling all of us.
Yup.
Hallelujah.
May 25th, 2018, James McDonald, Harvest Bible Chapel in Rolling Meadows, Illinois, on TBN TV. Mentioned the meaning of the Hebrew word Iysh,
Huh.
I-Y-S-H, found at Strong's Hebrew number 376, talking about Genesis 32:24, when Jacob wrestled with the angel. May 27, 2018, Tony Evans,
Okay.
now he's a Shemite. He don't know he's a Shemite. Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship in Dallas, Texas on TBN. He mentioned the one Greek word teleo, T-E-L-E-O, for the 3 English words, it is finished, that Yahshua said on the cross. See, some of the 12 natural tribes that still don't know who they are, they'll use a little Greek.
Yeah.
But those of us spiritual, the 12 spiritual tribes, are standing up and using Hebrew.
Y'all right, Rod. Salam's know. Tell it like it is.
May 27, 2018, Betty Price, another Shemite, Crenshaw Christian Center in Los Angeles. California, the Hebrew name Yah, Y-A-H-H, flashed on the screen while she was teaching. May 29th. May 28th, 2018. Here come Joseph Prince again in Singapore. He mentioned about the italics in the King James Version and what they meant.
Right.
Again, Gentiles are studying the Bible, strangers.
Right.
Teaching Hebrew, standing up saying Hebrew, saying Yahweh and Yahshua. May 29th, Daystar TV, here's Reflections, filler again. Reflections of Psalm 134 and 1 flashed. I will bless Yahweh at all times.
Praise Yahweh.
Produced by Black Walk in association with Daystar. What's that telling you? This the last days.
Waking up.
It's time.
Praise the mighty Yah.
June 4th, 2018. Ron Carpenter. Redemption World Outreach Center in Greenville, South Carolina. He mentioned the Hebrew custom on the Sabbath, doing anything on the Sabbath, 7th day, and the Son of Man healing on the 7th day. June 13th, 2018. Beth Moore, Living Proof Ministries in Houston, Texas, on TBN. She used the Hebrew word kabod at Strong's number 3559 and said it meant glory. June 18th, 2018. Joseph Prince comes again. Used the Hebrew word shalom, found at Strong's number 7965, said it meant health, prosperity, wholeness. He has copyrighted a picture of the Hebrew tribe of Judah, north, south, east, and west of the temple in the wilderness. He's copyrighted a picture of the ark with the cherubims of gold, and described it with shittim wood in Hebrew and how it was overlaid with gold. So he's made some pictures.
Right.
He said, you can't copy these are mine.
Right.
Whose are they?
Yahweh.
June 25th, Erwin McManus and Dawn Cherry Wilkerson, Chris Duzrow, Mosaic Church of Los Angeles, California, on TBN. There was a blonde white woman. She had a background of a large banner with a black man holding up his hands to heaven with the banner on top reading Mosaic Conference.
Hallelujah.
A blonde in front of the black man on the canvas with his hands raised saying Mosaic Conference. What time is it, people? It's the last days. All right.
Praise.
July 1, 2018. Ravi Zacharias. He's an Indian philosopher. Name of his show is Let My People Think TV show.
Okay.
He used the word kabod, talking about the luminosity or glory of Yahweh.
Yes.
And he went to Ezekiel the 10th chapter and the 43rd chapter, and he went to Exodus the 3rd chapter talking about the burning bush. July 3rd, 2018. Dwayne Vanderclock, walking by faith in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He used the word yashar, the Hebrew word for imagination, talking about meditation. July 6, 2018, Tony Dell of the Lighthouse Church in Alsip, Illinois, on WJYS. He used the words Elohim, then he put Jehovah with it, but Elohim, he said Sanballat, broken down in Hebrew, meant strength. July 9th, 2018, Kenneth Hagin Jr., Rhema Praise Program in Rhema Bible Church in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, made a reference to Strong's Concordance and referred to the word for glory in 2 Chronicles, the 5th chapter, verses 13 and 14, and 2 Chronicles, the 7th chapter, verses 1 to 2. So for those people that think these Sunday people don't go to the Old Testament, I got all these pages, and I finally just stopped because Yahweh said, okay, that's enough. July 9th, 2018. Here we go back to Ron Carpenter in Greenville, South Carolina. He said that they made Jesus a Caucasian and he was dark-skinned.
Hallelujah.
Had dark hair and dark eyes.
Hallelujah.
Now, this is the Gentiles saying
I know,
this.
right? The last days.
July 22nd, 2018. Robert Morris of Gateway Church in Dallas, Fort Worth on Daystar. He talked about Genesis 1:1 and 1:2 and mentioned the meaning of the two words for the earth becoming without form and void. Tohu and Bohu. July 23rd, 2018. Jesse Duplantis of Jesse Duplantis Ministries in Destrehan, Louisiana on Daystar. He mentioned the word Yahweh. He said Jehovah, but he also said Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
July 27th. Here's Joseph Prince again. He used the Hebrew word for healing, Rapha, and showed Babylonian Hebrew letters. July 27, 2018. James Merritt. His show is Walking in the Word. He's at Cross Point Church in Duluth, Georgia. On TBN, he used the Hebrew meaning of the word perfect in Psalms for the word precept. July 29th, 2018. Charles Stanley, In Touch TV show, First Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia on Daystar. He said the name Yahweh
Praise Yahweh.
in reference to Genesis 22 and 3. Charles Stanley,
I know, right?
wake up, Yisrael.
Hallelujah.
That old man.
Kenneth Copeland, Eagle Mountain International Church, Fort Worth, Texas, has a book published in 1987. He used the Hebrew name El Shaddai
Hallelujah.
on page 6. I have his Voice of the Victory magazine, December 2018, and the subtitle says, The Power That Split Hell Wide Open. And I'm reading verbatim. In the Hebrew language, the name God used in these verses is spelled YHWH.
Hallelujah.
It has no vowels in it, so no one in our day knows how to pronounce it. He goes on. This is Kenneth Copeland now in his magazine,
Right.
December 2018. The scribes would write it when copying the scriptures, although they would go and bathe even before writing it. But there was so much power in it, they were concerned that if they said it in vain, it would kill them. So when they spoke of it, they just said the name, quote unquote. And eventually the pronunciation of YHWH was lost. And Kenneth Copeland goes on to say in his magazine, talk about a mighty inheritance. When Jesus completed the work of redemption, he inherited the excellent name of the Most High God himself. He received the greatest honor the Father could bestow. Excuse me. The name that in the Old Testament is spelled YHWH. The name above all names.
Praise the mighty God.
Come on, Israel.
I know, right?
Hallelujah.
August 5th, Gary Moore Tara, I Speak of Life TV Ministries, Faith Fellowship Church in San Leandro, California. He used the Hebrew word Shamar as meaning hear, O Israel.
Yeah.
ChicagoFireRevival.com has a show called Horns of Healing Shofar Ministries in Chicago on WJYS TV. There are some Shemite brothers.
Right.
I don't think they know they're Israel. But they had a brother who was a Gentile, and all of them are on the show blowing the shofar and reading the scriptures and talking about what the shofar is used for and how you blow the shofar a certain way and it can bring healing, it can bring deliverance, and all of them. And they blow those shofars good too, sitting there, all right, in Chicago. October 17, 2018, here's Stephen Furtick again in Charlotte, North Carolina. He said, excuse me, when the world says no, God's people say, Yahweh!
Yeah.
And he had a man singing a song entitled Yahweh.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yahweh.
Gentiles, strangers,
Right?
Ray Comfort, The Way of the Master TV show, Living Waters Ministry on TBN. He used the Hebrew word Yowm for a day. October 28, 2018, Ed Young, Winning Walk TV show, Second Baptist Church in Houston, Texas. He used the Hebrew word Adam for man. November 12, 2018, Hank and Brenda Kuhneman, New Level TV show, Lord of Hosts Church in Omaha, Nebraska on Daystar TV. Hank used the Hebrew name El Shaddai.
Hallelujah.
November 19, 2018, Dr. Robert Jeffries, First Baptist Church, Dallas, Texas. In an interview on TBN, he said the name Yahweh.
Praise God.
Yahweh. Hallelujah.
Bless Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Bless Yahweh. Hallelujah. Let's go to Psalms 83. So at the same time, the devil has on TV shows airing like True Crime, Fatal Attraction, and For My Man. The only purpose of these shows is to convince the 12 natural tribes to hook up with strangers.
Right.
No other nationality or country except the United States has shows airing on TV like this. Oh, Black Jesus, the stranger is very high above Israel.
Yes.
Psalms 83, let's start at verse 3.
Hallelujah.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
4.
Verse 4. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yisrael may be no more in remembrance.
That's what the devil's trying to do. He's
Right.
thinking if he can get rid of the 12 natural tribes and get them all mixed up and messed up with strangers, then y'all won't be able to have any more of his natural tribes convert to become spiritual Yisrael. Let's go to Zechariah, the second chapter. So it says they've taken crafty counsel. That's the devil behind that crafty counsel.
Right.
That's why the stranger is very high above Yisrael.
Right.
They said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, from being the 12 natural tribes of Yisrael. And Yahweh's going to have us look in the last show about all these different rainbow tribes.
Right.
Everybody and their mama that's a stranger has made up some rainbow tribes of Israel. Zechariah, the second chapter. So Yahweh's plan
Thank
B,
you.
the Levitical priesthood, 2.5 natural tribes of Judah, just Benjamin and Judah, Benjamin, and part Levi are in the United States. We were brought here by the transatlantic slave ships. Zechariah, the 6th chapter. But we're back.
Yes.
We're awake.
Yes,
Zechariah 2, I'm sorry, the 2nd chapter, Zechariah 2, and I want to start at verse 6.
Hallelujah.
Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 6. Ho, ho, come forth, and flee from the land of the north, saith Yahweh. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith Yahweh.
Verse 7.
Verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon.
All right, so now he's talking to the Kohenah, he's talking to the priesthood,
Right.
because Yahweh let us know he scattered the 12 natural tribes to the four corners of the earth, but he also pinpointed where the priestly tribe would be, the tribe of Yehuda, which is Judah, Benjamin and part Levi. He says, oh, come forth and flee from the land of the north. That's talking about the United States. Said Yahweh, for I spread you abroad as the four winds of Shemaiah, said Yahweh. Deliver thyself, O Zion. It's talking about the priesthood that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon.
Right.
That's talking about the United States. All right? The devil is brainwashing the Levitical priesthood of the 12 natural tribes who are still asleep to try to stop them from becoming part of Yahweh's 12 spiritual tribe nation by having family relations and marrying strangers.
Right.
The devil's behind that. That's what it's all about. He's trying to stop them from transitioning to Yahweh's spiritual tribe nation. And we know some people that turned their back on Yahweh because they were hooked up with strangers. Zechariah 2, and let's skip down to verse 10. And they didn't want to let the stranger go. They said, hey, I'm going to let Yahweh go. That's how Yahweh is. They didn't say it with their mouth, but their actions did.
Right.
Zechariah 2 and 10.
Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 10. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith Yahweh.
All right, so he's talking about the priesthood. He's saying, hey, sing in Samak, or rejoice, O Bath, O daughter of Zion. Lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, said Yahweh. Yahweh said, I'm going to have my 12 spiritual tribe nation regardless.
He will have his way. Hallelujah.
We're back, and we're standing up, and we're letting people know, yes, Yahweh is going to prevail. He is prevailing regardless.
Yes, he will.
Go to 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. But it's the devil's plan for strangers to think they need to be part of the 12 natural tribes. 2 Timothy 3. So there's been a movement ever since all of the tribes got kicked out of the land, where strangers have made up all kind of rainbows and said, okay, these are who the 12 tribes are. And they include just about everybody except the 12 natural tribes of Israel. Why? Because they've taken crafty counsel. They want Yahweh's real natural tribes to be no more. So that's the devil's plan. 2 Timothy 3 and 13.
Hallelujah.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
So the devil is behind making strangers think they need to be part of the 12 natural tribes. It said, but evil men and seducers, influenced by the devil, they just going to wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived, thinking they're getting somewhere with Yahweh when they're not. Go to John, the 4th chapter. He's the one thinking that, making them think that, hey, if I become part of the 12 natural tribes, then I'm going to make it to the kingdom. No, you're not.
See